Hello and welcome to Making Bold Moves, the podcast. I am your host, Liz Boswell, and you are very welcome. Thank you for being here, for listening. This is a podcast where we help women in business to elevate their voices and grow their businesses. So we have guests on our podcast as well, and today I am delighted that I have with me the lovely Dawn Roberts. Now, Dawn and I have known each other a long time, and we actually met through networking. And today, the topic of our conversation is going to be about networking. And I can't think of anyone better to speak to about this. Dawn Roberts is franchise leader for Unique Ladies in the Hyndburn, Blackburn, and Preston areas. So Dawn actually facilitates those group meetings. She empowers the women who come to those meetings, and she supports them and helps to build their confidence in networking. So this is going to be a fantastic conversation. And so I have to welcome you by your name as well, Dawn, your official title of Dr. Dawn Roberts. So welcome and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Liz. Oh, you make me sound good.
You are good.
Thank you. You're making me blush.
Well, as I say, we've known each other a long time, and I've always really enjoyed working with you. And just let's start by just telling people a little bit of, obviously I've just introduced you, but in your words, really, just tell people a little bit about you.
Gosh, right. Well, as you said, I'm Dr. Dawn, but I have a doctorate in textile technology. So that was my last corporate job, shall we say, where I was working for a company that made towels for BHS. Prior to that, it was lingerie for M&S, the nice sexy stuff.
Oh, nice.
The boring knickers that we wear when we get to my age. But yeah, when I got made redundant from the last job I was in, that was an opportunity for me to then think, I'll now start studying and working for myself. So I started studying nutritional therapy and personal training, and that's what I did for 15 years.
Wow.
But as a lot of people might know, working for yourself can be quite daunting. So I started, lonely, I should say, not daunting. So I started looking for some networking and came across Unique Ladies and loved it that much that I bought the business, as they say. Well, I took 3 franchises on. Like a lot of women, been in the corporate industry and then just decide to go out on my own.
That's it. And this is the thing that a lot of us, and myself included, are in the same situation, Dawn. And so I guess really the conversation we want to have today is about networking and obviously, like you say, you believe in it that much, you bought the franchise, you bought into it. But I'm just wondering, with the world of social media, why networking? Why face-to-face networking? Why is it so important?
Oh, we need that human touch, don't we? I mean, yes, you've got your social networking on Facebook, then you've got your more professional platform like LinkedIn, but it's not the same as actually getting there and meeting somebody and building up that relationship. Prior to social media, we used to have forums, and I moderated on a forum on the internet, and I remember having a meetup with the people on there, and even though you got on really well online, when you suddenly met that person, they were a total stranger.
Yeah.
So we need that human contact, and I think we really came to realize that during lockdown. People were, lots of people were working from home, and they suddenly thought it was great. But then, as those of us who've worked from home for a long time realize, it's very lonely, and we need that human interaction. I have never felt less festive working at home. People coming on the holidays and having great fun, and suddenly you've not got that office banter about who's got the brownest or the whitest bits and what have you. So I really think it's important just to keep that human connection, and networking is the missing link if you work for yourself at home or in a small office, or in our case for women, if you work in a male dominated environment.
Yeah, that's true. And I know lots of women say that, don't they? And I was at a networking event last week, and a lady who came there said the same thing. She works with men all the time, so she's coming networking just to be around women and be inspired by women as well. So there is that. But you know, when a lot of people would say, Dawn, networking's about sales and networking's about selling your business, it's interesting to hear what you're saying. Networking's about that human connection, human touch.
That is totally what put me off wanting to network in the first place, because I thought I was going to have to go along to sell my business, and I wasn't particularly looking for anything. So I thought, to me, it was being selfish, going along and just selling without being there to buy. And then when I started at Unique Ladies and realised what it was about with those relationships and getting to know those ladies in that room, I might not need that mortgage advisor that I've just met. But my sister was just about to buy a house. So I thought, hang on a minute, I can help this lady in her business, but also I'm helping my own private network. And the penny sort of dropped, and I thought, this is what it's about. It's not just sales. And then again, going back to saying working from home on your own and being lonely, if I wanted to go out for coffee, I could just pick the phone up and see if somebody was free.
Yeah.
And again, or just talk to somebody, you know, if you've got a problem, you've got somebody else to talk to. I can't talk to my personal training customers while I've got them down doing 1,000 sit-ups. Not that I ever did, but you know, they don't want to hear what my work problems are, but talk to somebody else who can understand what it's like. You know, I've got to do a tax return this week, or, you know, anything like that. It's somebody's there to help you.
It's so true what you say there, because it's that commonality, I think, isn't it? Because, you know, we all
Absolutely.
have friends as well outside of work, but like you said, you don't really understand what it's like working for yourself and working on your own. But somebody else in Unique Ladies, you know, for example, would know that. And we do all support each other and encourage each other. And we're there, aren't we, really, for
Absolutely, yeah. And what I do love about the Unique Ladies is it's not just in the group that you might attend. We've got a good intergroup relationship as well. And I just love how some of the ladies, like yourself, pop into different groups, and that just seals all those relationships. And it's, you know, so when we have a full, like I said, Christmas party, our International Women's Day events, everybody seems to know one another, and it's just like being with one big family.
Yeah, yeah. And that is great, like you say, because you're set up on your own, it can be quite lonely working for yourself. And I think it's important to have this conversation, because I think if you haven't networked before, you might be thinking, what's this all about? And why do I need networking? And you might be thinking, well, I've got enough business. And I hear this from some people, like almost scared to go networking because they're like, well, I've got enough clients on at the moment. I don't need more clients right now. But if we don't have that network, then what happens when we don't? Well, when we lose a client.
Absolutely. And the thing is, if you build that relationship up, and suddenly you do lose a client, you've already got a waiting list maybe, or people who already know you. So as soon as you put it out there, I've now got capacity to take on somebody else. You're not having to start from scratch because you've already built up those contacts, and
Yeah,
those ladies know what you're doing.
yeah,
You know, so it works.
yeah, definitely. Can we talk a bit about the nuts and bolts of networking, Dawn? So for somebody
Hmm.
who's maybe thinking, what is a networking meeting? What goes on at a networking meeting? Can we just talk about like what that would be like for someone, you know, coming for the first time?
Well, certainly for Unique Ladies, I know there's some other networks that set up differently, but for us, we have our first half hour is it gives ladies a chance to arrive, grab a cup of coffee, have 30 minutes catching up with somebody they might have met last month and not had a chance to catch up in between. So it's sort of informal networking, shall we say, and it's great. I love the banter. These are the times I just stand back and look and just think, how fabulous is this? So when the meeting, I shouldn't say officially starts because it does start with that 30 minutes, but when we do come to sit down, I'll do an introduction to the group, and then we'll have two speakers. So the first speaker we'll have is a 10-minute marketing educational speaker. So it could be, say, this is one example I use a lot, is if you're a solicitor who specialises in wills and estates, you might talk about why it's important to have a will. So you're not directly selling, you're indirectly selling. You're telling people what you do, and that might make them think, oh, hang on a minute, I've not got a will. I'll go and contact them afterwards. So
Yeah.
that 10 minutes to me is very important. And I do like to open it up just to the ladies who come to the group, because
Mm.
it's their chance to I don't like calling it a pitch, but it is their chance to do a longer pitch to the group
Yeah,
to let them know more about what they're doing and a bit more insight.
definitely. And
And
obviously this podcast is all about that and getting women's voices heard and
yeah,
sharing your expertise with other women. And it's a great opportunity, isn't it, when you are
of course it is.
networking, if you've
Yeah,
got a chance to do a 10-minute talk or something like that,
yeah.
to actually share more about your expertise and show what you do.
Of course, but then we also have the 30-minute slot, which
Mm,
is you can share even more of your expertise there. Now, we do call it a motivational, inspirational talk, and a lot of the ladies might come along and have a personal story to tell. And I just love it when you've got a lady who's been, I don't love it being down on the luck, but that's where the story's coming from. Quite
mm,
often, these stories are ladies who've really been down on the luck, might be they've been through an abusive relationship. It might be that they've been made redundant several times, as one of the recent talks that we've
yeah,
had. And these are the reasons a lot of ladies sort of then set up their business. So their motivational talk is not just telling us about their own journey into why they set up the business, but then often gives us a snippet about what they do as well.
yeah.
So
Those
I just
big
love the 30-minute
changes.
talks. Yeah, we've had some fantastic talks over the years, and you know, they're just amazing.
Yeah.
But
And
in
then for
between,
women going networking, I guess, it's that opportunity to go and be inspired because maybe you come into that network feeling like, oh, I don't know where my next client's going to come from, or I'm really struggling. Is it all worth it?
yeah.
Should I get a job? And then you hear somebody that's been through that themselves, and you can then go and talk to them about it.
Absolutely, yeah, because you think you're the only one that's going through those issues, but when you realise you're not, then it is good to realise that somebody else has been through it and come out the other end and made even better for themselves, you know. So
Definitely.
between the two speakers, we do what we call round the table. Now, it can be
Is
very
this the
daunting if
dreaded
you're
60 seconds that people talk about?
yeah, you could say that, but it often goes on a little bit longer. And we don't hold ladies to 60 seconds. Quite often we've got 5 minutes, but some take it up, some don't, some might go a little bit over that. Some ladies are easy to control, others aren't, shall we say? But that's my issue. But yeah, we have this round the table. That's your chance to tell everybody in that group about you and what you do. If we have a large group, we like to split it into smaller tables, because if you were to walk into a room of, let's say, 20 to 30 ladies that you've never met before, and you've even got to do 2 minutes talking to them, that in itself is daunting to a lot of ladies. Where if you've just got a table of 6, 7 or 8 ladies to talk to, conversations flow a little bit better, and it
Mm,
helps again with those relationships. And then what my job is to do each month is split those tables up. So I try and mix them up so you're sat with different people.
yeah.
You know, and because we're not also an exclusive relationship, an exclusive network like a lot of them are, we might have several people that are in the same field. Well, again, we
Mm,
will try and sit those on different tables, and again,
yes.
mix them up as much as we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's brilliant, isn't it? How you do that. And so we meet different people each time. So we're not just creating that, small group of people. And I think what's great about that is new people coming in as well feel welcomed as well. We just talk about some of the challenges that some of the women face who come to your network, Dawn. What do you hear people say, like, what kind of holds them back from coming networking?
Basically nerves.
Mm,
Quite often we've had ladies walking in, oh, can I speak to you before I come? And I'm really nervous. And the first thing I'll say to them is, come early and I'll introduce you to some of our ladies. And what I do love about the groups is quite often the ladies like yourself, who are more frequent attendees, will realise there's a new person in that room and will make a beeline and go and talk to them
mm,
and introduce yourself. And I think that's lovely, because I think the worst thing to think of is you're going to walk into that room and all these ladies will know one another. They're all going to be standing in a little group and totally ignore you. And I've never yet seen that happen at Unique Ladies. And
yeah.
certainly if I did, I would take that person myself by the hand and break that group up and say, ladies, this is.
Yes.
But I've never had
Yes.
to do that, which is what I love.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. And so there's that, isn't there? That fear of like, what if I don't know anyone and I don't know what to say? And
Yeah.
what if no one wants to talk to me? it's that fear of rejection, isn't it? And
Of course it is. Yeah,
we're
we've
all
all got it.
human.
Yeah, we've all got it. I mean, I've experienced it, so I totally know what it feels like. But and what you've got to think of is, what am I going to talk about? Well, we are there at the end of the day for business. So take an interest in what that other lady does. Find out about her business. Ask questions. If you run out of things to talk about with that, ask her about her family.
Yeah,
It's again building that relationship and getting to know that person, isn't it?
it
And
is. Because I hear some people sometimes say, well, what I do is not very interesting. So
oh
if
gosh, yeah,
somebody's like, for example, they're like a bookkeeper and they might go, oh, well, what I do is not very interesting. Not to like single anyone
yeah.
out, but
Oh,
or they
I'm
might do
just
something.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
just a
yeah,
bookkeeper.
I'm just a
You're
virtual
not just
assistant.
but you're somebody's savior. Somebody who doesn't like bookkeeping is going to love you to bits. And that's why we all go into all these little areas, isn't it? Because somebody else doesn't particularly want to do that bit. So you're the expert in it. So don't just dismiss yourself.
I love your passion for it. It's brilliant. Yeah. This is what it's about, though, isn't it? Empowering these women to see themselves differently. And I think
Indeed.
that's one of the
Yeah.
things I love about networking. It's that opportunity to do that,
Yeah.
And so if anyone is listening to this, who is either avoiding networking or is nervous when they go networking as well, I wondered if we could just share some tips, Dawn, that might help people when they are going. Just what would you say is a good thing to do?
Well, the first one I've already alluded to is arrive early if you can.
Mhm.
Maybe speak to me beforehand and I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. I then, when I know a little bit more about you, can introduce you to somebody that I know will take you on board and look after you, shall we say. So that's the first thing. Turn up early. It's easier to walk into a room with maybe myself. There might be another lady's turned up early, rather than walking into a room when all 20 ladies are there. That's
Absolutely.
more daunting than anything. And if I do spot the new person coming in, even if I'm talking to somebody, I will excuse myself and say, excuse me, I've got a new lady just arrived. Let me just at least go and introduce myself. And then
Yeah.
I'll sort of, whoever's nearest to me, I'll just say, oh, by the way, this is Liz. Go and grab a coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
And it happens naturally. It's never been hard work.
No. So turn up early then is the
Turn up
first
early
one.
is my first one. I'd also then say, which is don't dismiss anybody. You
Mm,
just never know who that person knows. It's like I said about me, I didn't particularly need a mortgage advisor. I could well have said to that lady, oh, sorry, I don't need you, so I'm not going to speak to you. But no, I took an interest in what she did, found out how passionate she was about helping people, whether it's get a new mortgage, reduce the monthly payments each time. And then when my sister wanted a house, it was like, oh, I know just the person that can help you there.
yeah.
And that's happened so many times. So, and it's sad because I have heard ladies come to me when they've been to other networking where they've said, oh, I wanted to meet such and such a body, but they said, oh, I don't see what we've got in common and I don't even want a coffee with you. Well,
Yeah.
hang on a minute. Again, it's that relationship. I think it's even happened with, heaven forbid, somebody who worked for a charity. Well, surely somebody from a charity should be trying to get to know as many people as they can,
Yeah.
because again, you never know who's going to bring that money in or help that charity out or become a trustee or whatever they might need. So it's very important.
That's so good that you said
Yeah,
that. Don't dismiss anyone, because I think that's a nice attitude to have,
yeah,
and reassuring for people coming as well to know that they're not going to be dismissed. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But
Anything
then you,
else?
sorry.
I was just going to say anything else to
Yeah, I
add.
mean, the other one, and this happened to me the very first time I went networking, was as soon as I got home, I'd got an email from a person selling me something. So don't jump down people's throats. Build up that relationship first. It's happened to us all, hasn't it? I mean, on the social platform like Facebook, it might be you suddenly get some American GI man messages you and say, oh, hello, beautiful, you look nice. You just think, oh, well, it's exactly the same when somebody does it in business. It's just like, it's slimy. I
Yeah.
don't want that, come and invite me for a coffee and then tell me a bit more about what you do. And then, down the line, maybe try and recruit me if you want me for anything or sell me something, but don't just down my throat half an hour later.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good one. I would also say don't shove your business cards in people's face straight away. I've been to networking events before where people just like literally go around throwing the business cards at as many people as they can. Well,
Yeah.
there's not a connection there, is there? And
No.
that card's probably going to end up in the bin, so you've wasted your money. So make connections, isn't it, really?
Yeah, indeed.
People,
Yeah.
you know. No, that's really good. And so I was also just thinking as well, I think sometimes having had a bad experience can put you off, or if you speak to someone who's had a negative experience of networking and shares a bad experience, that can put you off as well.
Of
So I
course
just
it
wondered
can,
if
but
you've got any of those kind of.
well, again, it might be specific to that particular network. You know, there's that many network groups out there, some for ladies, some in mixed groups. I'm not aware of one that's for men only. They might think that we're being sexist having women only, but that's another subject. Um, but
Yeah,
just have a look at what the networks are there. I think we're quite informal. We're more welcoming. I think we concentrate more on getting those relationships built up rather than getting people in there to do business. Now, somebody else who's on, say, a more corporate level might not be interested in that. They're going in there representing a multi-million-pound business, so it's their priority to get business. And that means is not a network that you need to go to. But Unique Ladies, we're not exclusive to, but we are very welcoming for ladies who do work for themselves, who run their own small business, whether it be from home, a small office. But we do have corporate and a lot of charities that come, CEOs from charities and what have you. But if you can join one that fits your business profile, shall we say, then I think you'll find you'll blend in better.
yeah, that's a really nice point, actually. I always say to people, try and find the right network for you, because sometimes we think, oh, we've got to go to that one because everybody's going to that one, you know, but it might not be that it's the right fit for you.
Oh,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
you know, try a few, but then I think stick to one if you can, at least for a while anyway. Get to know the people in that network before you kind of move on. That's
Absolutely. Consistency is the key. We've got some
consistency.
ladies who've asked me, oh, can I come to all three of you? Because as you know, I do an offer where you can pay up front and I offer a
Yeah,
little bit of a discount. So I've had some ladies, can I come to all three, but do it Preston 1 month, Blackburn another month, Hyndburn another month. But the problem is, you might not meet all the other ladies that come. You might sort of be missing that one particular person who comes, and that month you come to Preston, she's off that month.
yeah,
And it's getting that consistency. You're not, if they're only going to see you once every 3 times a year, that relationship isn't going to happen.
yeah.
If you go to the same place each time, you get to know those ladies. I'm going to use Hyndburn as an example here because it's my longest running one, but I just look at the relationships that the ladies who've been coming since 2018 when it started,
Yeah,
how friendly they all are together now, but not as a clique, because they do welcome in the new ladies, and it's lovely to see.
no, it is nice. And as you know, I know you always tell people these stories that I was the first person to ever
You
book a
beat me to it, you
ticket.
bugger.
I just had to get that one in there. No, but I remember back in 2018 when I'd been in business for a year and I had tried other networking groups and really struggled to find one where I felt like I fit in. And when I saw yours of like Unique Ladies, I was like, yes, that sounds like a bit of me. I'm going to that. And I was so excited. And I've been a member ever since. So it's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
worked for me and
yeah.
helped me to grow my business as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Thank
lovely
you.
seeing your business as well, because when I go to your meetings, it's like walking into an extended Unique Ladies meeting as well.
Yeah.
And I think either you've introduced the ladies to us or we've introduced them to you.
Yeah.
And, and that's again what it's all about.
I
So
know it is. It's brilliant, and that's what I was going to ask actually as well, about some of the benefits of networking, and I'll speak a little bit about that, and then I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Dawn, so you can have a think about. What I want to know is what's been the personal benefits like for you as well. I mean, I think for me, as a growing business and as a business owner that's scaling up, networking has just been so key, because each time when I'm going and talking about my business, talking about what I do, it helps to build my confidence. And also I'm getting feedback from people as well. So sometimes I'll go along and say, I'm struggling with this, or I'm thinking about doing this offer. What do people think? And before I launched the speaking academy, some of the ladies, did sort of like help me, with the survey and things like that. So there's so many different ways that I've benefited. It's not just about sales. That's the message I want to get across.
Absolutely,
What
yeah,
about
yeah.
you, Dawn? How have you
For
benefited?
me, I mean, like I say, I started going along and I was thinking I was going along for my business, but I got so much more out of it. Like you say
Mhm.
about confidence, I'd even got to the stage, having worked at home on my own for 15 years, where I wouldn't even pick the phone up to ring British Gas up to tell them they'd overcharged me bill. That's how lacking in confidence I was, and this is little old me who'd once been referred to as being a bulldog in the business.
Oh.
Suddenly, I'm resorted to, I don't want to say a little chihuahua because they can be fierce little buggers as well, but I've just been resorted to a big soft Labrador, shall we say. Sorry, I just like my dogs. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, so I felt more confident. I got my voice back. Talking to other ladies, found out more about businesses and running my own business. I wouldn't say I did get some business, but because I was networking outside of my town and I was a personal trainer running from home, I knew I was going to be out that catchment area. But it was still good to go along to get advice from those ladies about running business. So it wasn't about gaining extra income, but it was what information I could get to gain extra income, shall we say. Um, but then what I started realizing is when Susie Howard founded, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know Uni Ladies, when she decided to start franchising out, and I thought, I want a piece of this because I've seen what it's done for me. I want to share the love. I approached her and I said, how about, starting up in Hyndburn, me at the helm? Because as we know, Hyndburn, the main town, is Accrington. I'm an Accrington girl myself. So it was lovely to go back to my roots. And like you were the first one to come along, so I thought, great, at least one person's interested.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
boosted my confidence in that. And then my menopause brain's just kicking in here and I'm losing the train of as where I'm going. But
No, it's okay. I'm just talking about your benefits, aren't we, as
yeah, I
well?
remembered what I was going to say. Basic, what I noticed is once I started doing the networks, is it interfered in what I was doing as my own business. So I gave
Yeah.
it up and just did
Yeah.
networking because I saw what it was doing for other ladies, exactly what it had done for me. And I thought, I want to carry on with that. I think you met a young lady who came to my Blackburn one a couple of months back who was very shy and walked in and was really, shall I say, timid. And she came the following month and it was almost like, yep, she knew what to expect. She walked in with more confidence in that second month and she was like a different person altogether. And it
Yeah.
was lovely to see, and that's exactly, she even brought her mother, didn't she, for her first
She
meeting?
did.
And she
Bless
came on
her.
her own the second meeting. So that was just fabulous. And to me, we felt that lady with a confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And obviously gives a lot to you, Dawn, about how you empower women and help them as well. And that says a lot about you, about the leader that you are as well, to help women build their confidence. So thank you from me for that. So yeah, so there's all sorts of guests with different experiences, but I can just see how passionate you are about networking, and that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast and talk to you today. So yeah, I've loved this conversation. It could probably go on at least for another half an hour
You could.
easily, you know. So interestingly, some people might be surprised on as well, for you having run your own networking franchise for the last 5 or 6 years, that you actually joined my speaking academy as well earlier this year. So I just was wondering about that as well, like for your own personal development. Why do you feel it's so important to invest in yourself personally as well?
I've spoken at conferences because I've come through from doing my doctorate. I had to lecture to day release students, so I'm used to standing up and talking to a crowd, shall we say. And then I've spoken at conferences in America and Turkey, and I I'm not shy at standing there in front of a crowd and talking, but I also don't dismiss the fact that I can improve.
Mm.
You know, I'm certainly not up to TED Talk standards by any means. I don't expect to be, but I know there's room for improvement. And that's what I thought. And all credit to you, Liz, is when I've been on your courses so far and we've done the raising the bar and telling, you know, selling with stories, I know you've stood me at the front, and then because you know what I can do, you've challenged me to go even that one step further. And that's what I've loved about joining, you know, what I've got from you from it. So it's again, it's boosting that confidence, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
brilliant. And I think that's the thing, isn't it, as well? I think networking very much can help us with our own personal development and personal growth, and keep refining our messaging and keep developing it and keep practicing as well. That practice is so important, because as we all know, practice makes progress, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Like you said, networking isn't just about business, it's you. And that's what it did for me. It developed me.
Yeah.
Even though it made me change
Brilliant.
my career path yet again. But
And I think that's a great message for us to, you know, to kind of finish on, to remind people that networking is about you. It's about showing up as yourself and being yourself.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
how can people find Unique Ladies, Dawn? How can they find out more about Unique Ladies, and how could they get in touch with you?
Well, we have our website, which is uniqueladies.co.uk, or one word, obviously .co.uk. But we do have, if you go on there, it will show you what sort of events we've got. And we've got altogether 10 groups now. So I'm not
Wow.
just speaking about my Preston, Blackburn and Hyndburn. And I've had to write these down because I'll no doubt forget. So we've got Bolton, Chorley, Leeds, Bradford, Ribble Valley, Salford, South Lakes, Stockport, and then we also do an online one once a month. And then personally myself, I do Preston, Blackburn and Hyndburn. So
I'm
we've
not
got those
surprised you
10
had to write
groups.
them down.
Yeah, well, menopause brain again. So we've got those 10 groups and the one online. So if you can't physically make it in person, you can still join the online one, which Susie, our founder, she runs that one. So there's always chance. And because we don't have a membership as well, you're quite welcome to go to any of the groups. Some of us do also have it that you can pay up front to come along, so we call that a subscription, but it still doesn't stop you going to another group and paying to go and visit. You know, if you come to my Hyndburn one, you can go and visit Chorley and like you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love it. So thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you for that. And thank you so much for joining me today. I've really
My
enjoyed
pleasure.
this.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you. I've enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that our listeners enjoy this conversation as well. And if you do enjoy it, can you please give us a like, and we'd love it if you can review us and follow us as well, because we're trying to get more women to be able to listen to this podcast so that we can help you to grow yourselves and grow your business and make some bold moves. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Goodbye.